parent of a high school senior, you're probably seeing your child putting in a lot of work right now to plan for college. And part of that process is filling out the government FAFSA form and looking for ways to pay for that higher education. Emily Maroney is the college manager for Cincinnati Public Schools, and she's here with a closer look at that whole FAFSA process. Good to see you, Emily.
So good to be back. Happy New Year.
So the government made some changes to streamline FAFSA. First of all, what are the changes and how are they helpful?
Absolutely. So I'm going to say this. FAFSA has not been updated since Reagan was president.
Wow.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff that have changed in that time. So the government said, how do we support families moving forward and affording education? And so some big changes are coming with FAFSA. You might have experienced it yourself with your son recently, but I'm going to just touch on a couple of them. Okay. The first being that everyone needs to make an FSA ID. So even if you don't think in the form you're going to be a contributor, go ahead and make an ID. It makes the process so much quicker, more simple.
Mom, the dad, the student,
the dad, even a step parent needs to make an FSA ID, correct. Okay. Additionally, instead of just looking at employment income, now the government is looking at other forms of wealth. So if you have stocks, you have bonds, you own a farm, any type of those assets are building into it. What used to be called the EFC, or the estimated family contribution, is now called the student aid indicator. So it's looking at less of what is this family contributing, but what is the student contributing to education. Okay. So there are a lot of changes happening with it. 20 different languages, 20 colleges. So instead of 10, 20 colleges. Okay. Additionally, 11 languages. So it used to just be in 2. Now families can go in and do it in the language that they are familiar to.
That all sounds really great, but the whole process has had a whole bunch of snags, delays with people getting their information. What kind of advice are you giving to the families you work with on navigating this?
Hang in there. Okay. That's what I'm saying at this point. The government has acknowledged there are snags. They did not really announce they did a soft launch on December 31st, so everyone was going in. Some had access, some didn't. Now everyone does have access 24/7, but you don't have to go about it alone. I have a little thing I'm saying. If you're uncertain, just don't fill it out yet. Right. Really use resources around you to ensure that you have all your documentation. You don't have to manually put in your IRS information anymore. It's automated. So that's actually really helpful, but that can glitch. Anytime you add humans and IT, there will be glitches.
Yeah, right.
So be patient in that process.
Well, the FAFSA is designed to help kids find financial aid, find scholarships, but are there ways outside of that process to find money for higher education?
Absolutely. There is always money. We hone in a lot on there's so many billions of dollars that are not spent in FAFSA, but the truth is there are tons and tons of dollars that go unspent that are in private scholarships or in schools and colleges at the university that you want to go to. And so I say to every student, start searching. You don't even know. Wendy's has scholarships. So start looking at your neighborhood stores, your neighborhood convenience stores at times even have scholarships. Talk to your school counselors. They're the ones that are getting tons of emails from us that say, hey, here's another scholarship. Maybe it's based on an identity. Maybe it's based on a major of interest. Maybe it's just based on that a donor had funds and they're looking to give it to a student who needs it. And so when a student says, I don't know how I'm going to afford college, I always look back and say, where have you looked to afford college?
Okay, that's good.
So start thinking about scholarships. Start thinking about, do I need to work a job? Most people think FAFSA only opens doors to Pell, but the truth is it looks at work study. Even it opens work study and other federal aid. So it's really, really important to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. But again, I emphasize you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah. Any important deadlines as we wrap up here that people need to be aware of?
Yes. So the first deadline is in June. June 30th, 2024 is when FAFSA closes, for this coming year. The other thing to think about is that you can make any edits or corrections up till September 14th. Most people wait until the bitter end, but they start allocating funds in FAFSA from the application period.
Well, I kind of think you have to do your taxes this time of year, so just go ahead and take care of that too.
Go ahead and do it. It's so simple. And the thing is, and this is what I also want to say, most people think that if they fill out FAFSA that they automatically owe something. That is not true. FAFSA are free funds. And so get the free funds and move forward in that and then figure out where do I need to do gap closure with other funds and finances so that I can go to college with minimal to no debt.
And if you have questions, get in touch with those counselors at your local high high school.
Hands
Emily,
down.
thank you.
Thank you
good
so
to have
much.
you here.
Thank you.
Good information.
Sure, you could stop watching now, but let's be honest, you want to see more. So click some of those links, or better yet, go ahead and tap subscribe. That way you'll catch more content from Local 12.